Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Heather. How are you today?
Good morning. I am amazing. Oh, my voice doesn't think it's
Oh,
amazing, but I am
whoa.
amazing.
What's going on there?
I haven't talked to anybody this morning except for you, John, so it's the first time. That's all.
I've been talking to myself since 5:30 in the morning. So I guess, I haven't verbalized or talked to anybody, but yes, I've been talking in here. And how many times do we do that? How many times do we just talk to ourselves first thing in the morning? And we talked about this in one of our other episodes where we talked about what do we say to ourselves when we get up in the morning. So actually, why
Yes.
don't we kind of go with that? What do you say to yourself when you get up in the morning?
It's so funny that you asked that question because yesterday my husband was in the shower and he could hear me talking to our dog. And I usually do my affirmations to the dog, and she loves it because I put on this amazing, like a really happy voice. And I say things like, oh my God, we're going to have the best day ever. Today is the first day of the best day. And like, and you say it like you're talking to a dog, it really is joyful and happy. And of course my dog lays over and like shows me her belly and she wants belly rubs, and then I just go through my whole affirmation and I tell my dog, like, you're beautiful, you're full of love, we're going to be playful today. And it just makes such a good morning. But really, I'm doing the affirmations for me. So my husband's hearing all this, he goes, do you do this every morning? I'm like, every morning, this is it, because sometimes he's already left for work and he misses these moments.
Yeah.
So uh, you know, sometimes you can do it with your kids, you can do it with your loved ones, or of course, because it's really hard to just look in the mirror and say that to yourself. So
Yeah.
I'm I use my pup as a prop for my affirmations. So and it changes every day, John. Like, I have some go-to affirmations, but sometimes it's like, I'm going to be really productive today. This is going to be the most productive day that I've had all week. And of course, if you say that every day, you're sort of amping up for
Mm.
an even more productive day every single day. So yeah, how about yourself? What goes
Yeah.
through your
No, I
mind?
love that. Actually, before I get into myself, and we've talked about this on another episode where it was in and around your priming rituals. Affirmation is a priming ritual, and it's what sets up the rest of your day.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that because one of the things I say before I even get up, as I'm laying there contemplating, should I get up because it's cold this morning, or do I just stay here in bed and just, go through my affirmations a few more times? And it's really around, I am much more than I seem to be. All the world's power and strength resides in me. And I've said this on
Mm.
another episode. I am much more than I seem to be. All the world's power and strength resides in me, and that
Mm-hmm.
gets me going. That's the thing that clicks for me in terms of going through my affirmation. I am much more than I seem to be. All the world's power and strength resides in me. And just doing that already sets me up to just feel better in the morning, instead of getting up and saying, oh, the floor is cold,
Mm.
right? Because we do that, and that's priming us for maybe a not so positive action that follows that, right? It's like, oh, why like is everything creaky? Why is the house making so like there's a string of things that turns there's a string of things that tend to happen after we get into that first movement, that first thing that we do with ourselves in the morning. I get up and I do this like giant stretch and I feel fantastic. I know, like superhero. I feel so powerful first thing in the morning. And I try not to do it because I wake up way before everybody else in the house. So I try to be really, really quiet with it, or I'll come down into the basement. My office, I insulated all four walls so it makes minimal noise going. So
So
it
you can
doesn't
jump
wake
on
up
your
anybody.
bouncer, play
I
some music if
could.
you want.
I could. The only thing is, there's noise that goes through the vent system, but it's minimal compared to like everything else that I'm doing. Yes, technically I could yell first thing in the morning, and yeah, yes, yes. For those of Gunjin, thank you for tuning in, and somebody else has said good morning to us. I can't see who you are. You're a LinkedIn user, so thank you for that. But thank you for popping in and being a part of this morning. You are priming yourself for what follows the rest of the day. This is why we talked about routines and affirmations. Actually, affirmations is one of those things that we don't really pay a lot of attention to. And I think if we spent
Mm.
more time really practicing an affirmation, we would become the people that we want to be. And it's
Well,
those
and
little things, and it's the reflection. Sorry, go ahead, Heather.
the affirmation first thing in the morning, you talk about the priming, but if you are affirming what your day is going to be like, believe
Mm,
me, it's going to set you up for success, but it also allows the other volume of things to turn down. So like you said, if you're, under the covers, you're like, "Oh, it's so cold out today. It's rainy today." And then if you're thinking those things, you might be a little bit slower, you might take a few more minutes, and you're not really priming yourself for the best possible outcome. But if you're like, today is going to be a day of movement, I can't wait. Well, like your likelihood you're going to take the next step. Like I started so my physiotherapist gave me a strength challenge for the next 8 weeks.
mm.
And so I'm now doing a plank every day and timing myself. So like I couldn't wait to get out of bed this morning to see if I could beat my time from yesterday. And like this, it's just 2 seconds. I beat it by 2 seconds, but 2 seconds
Nice.
is 2 seconds, right? So if I do that for the next 8 weeks, like holy cannoli, like I'm gonna be strong. So that
Yeah.
was my affirmation this morning is I am strong. And it's not I'm going to be strong. That's not my affirmation. I just
Mm,
said that. What my affirmation is, I am strong. And I think that's a really important distinction for affirmations is you say it as if it's already happened. You're
mm,
already in that moment. Because if you step into the future, well, you can't. That's not being present. But if you step into current presence as if it's already happened, then the affirmation, because your brain doesn't know the difference, right, John?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It doesn't know the difference. It doesn't know, it doesn't understand time, right? So
Mm,
it doesn't know what happened. Like we know consciously what's happening in the present, in the future, in the past, but our brain doesn't, right? So if we tell it to go forward to where we want to be and who we want to be, we can operate from that place right now. And like you said, you got up in the morning. I am strong, right?
I'm strong.
If you say I am going to be strong, there
I can that's
it leaves,
permission to stay in bed longer. That's not what
yeah.
you want.
It leaves room for doubt to show up,
That's right.
right? And it takes away your power to act. I'm going to
Mm,
be. Wow, that's kind of like saying someday I will, right? And it's funny because I've been having conversations with people in and around, and I've heard this a few times. Well, someday I'm going to do this, and I'm like, can you show me where someday is on the calendar? Because
doesn't
I don't ever
exist.
remember seeing it on the calendar. I know, and I don't do that to be mean or facetious. I do it just to help you realize that when you say someday, it's
Mm.
no day. It's never, right? It's just not there. You
You're
know,
giving yourself permission to not
mhm,
take action. And
correct.
and our words are so powerful. We use them freely, but when we're a lot more succinct with them and really purposeful, they can change our mindset, they can change our actions, and they can change the decisions that we're making on a micro moment by moment basis. And it's those micro moment by moment basis that changes our lives. I'm going to do a plank every single day for the next 8 weeks. So and I'm going to announce I'm at 1 minute and 10 seconds today.
All
So
right.
8 weeks from now, I don't know. I'm going to have to give myself more time. Maybe I'll be at 5 minutes, right? Like, I don't know, but damn, I'm going to be strong.
All right. It sounds like a challenge for everybody here. You know
Ooh, a
what? I'm
plank
going to take.
challenge.
I am going to accept the challenge because you
Ooh,
threw it
I
out
love
there,
it.
and I'm like, ooh, maybe I should get in on this. And listen, I got a vacation coming up, so if I can have tighter abs going on vacation, I am going to.
Okay.
I'm all excited. So if you are open to it, and if you are capable, and barring no physical restrictions, but if you want to join this challenge, let us know. Give us a yes in the comments. Let's, and here's my challenge to all of you. Challenge, commit to the 8 week. We're gonna talk about it, and we're gonna drop little things as we go through this over the next 8 weeks. But let's all commit to this. So if you are in, and when I say you are in, what I'm really asking you to do is to really commit. And if you know that you're going to follow through, give me a yes in the chat, in the comments, because I'd love to see you know, if you're ready for this, if you're ready for that step, and start wherever you're at. So if
That's right.
you know, it doesn't matter if you can do a 10-second plank, it doesn't matter if you can do a 5-minute, like wherever you're at, just start there. And the goal is just to be better 8 weeks later. And when you
Mm-hmm.
decide today, what you're saying is, I'm going to cut off all our options, and this is what I'm going to do every day for the next 8 weeks. All right. So I'm doing the plank challenge with you. I'm going to do it right
I
after
love
we
it.
get off
You know what I
this
love
call.
about a plank challenge? You know, people commit to too much sometimes. They commit to,
Mhm.
I'm going to do an entire workout. I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to do an hour circuit and I'm going to lift weights. And then they go the first day and they lift too much and they hurt themselves. Whereas
Mm.
a plank, you know, well, if I'm only doing a minute, I'll be doing up to way more minutes soon, but there's no way I have the excuse in my head that I don't have a minute to do something, right? A minute is just so small, and you know, it's going to increment a little bit more, but it's just such a small tiny baby step towards something else. And
Yeah.
you know, that's the good thing about this kind of challenge, is that the excuses are gone because
Mm.
everyone has a minute.
Yeah. Well, there's two type of people in the world, right? People that make excuses and people that just get things done. And we've
Mm-hmm.
already got a yes in the chat. So Felicia is going to be joining us on the plank challenge. I love it. Thank you, Felicia. Thank you
I
for
love
saying
it.
yes. Who else is going to say yes to the plank challenge? Come on. We're
Yes. Oh,
going into the new year.
and like put a tracker together. Like it doesn't have to be fancy. This is my tracker. Like it's literally on a piece of paper, written down day by day. I'm going to write my time down because you got to measure your
Mm.
results. Always measure your
Yes.
results.
Yeah. They got to be smart, right? Smart, measurable, actionable, results oriented, and timed, right? So we
Mm-hmm.
know we got the 8 weeks. We know where we're starting. We know what we're building up to. Love it. So we've got a yes. Who else is committing? Come on. I know you're out there, you're listening, and you're like, oh, can I not? Listen, like I said, if it's physically not possible for you, please don't commit because we don't want you to hurt yourself. But planks are so easy, and start where you're at. And if you need to start on your knees, then that's where you start. And that's where
That's
you
where you
kind
start.
of build your plank from, right? I love it. It's something so simple. And it's the one thing, just taking that one step, that one action, that yes is the first. And actually, I did a little TikTok. Yes, a little TikTok. I did a TikTok video yesterday where I talked about just making decisions, right? And I
Mm.
think we talked about this earlier in the week too, where it's not so much about knowing the how, because the how shows up once you decide. The first step in the how is actually deciding and then
Mm-hmm.
committing, right? Because when you decide and you say yes, you're saying yes to, okay, I don't know what's in front of me, but I'm going to do it anyways. And then I'll figure it out. And this
Yeah.
is, you know, exactly where you're at. You said yes to an 8-week challenge by your physiotherapist to go do those planks. And, you know, even if it's 10 seconds that you start with, if you build by 1 second every day, 8 weeks from now, you're going to be at a few minutes. And really, that's what
Exactly.
it's all about. I love it. I love it. I love it. Who knew that we were going to say yes to a plank challenge today? Yes.
I love it.
Come on.
Well, and here's the other challenge, right? If anybody's listening, you know, whether you're listening to the recording or you're listening live with us this morning, we talk for 20 minutes. You can plank while we're talking. Like it's okay.
Yes, that's true. Well, unless you're driving. If you're
Yeah.
driving, please don't plank because that could be dangerous. But yeah, no, even as you're listening to this, if you got your headphone on, like I'm tempted to go do a plank right now. I'm not going to do that because I want to stay on video with you. But,
Okay,
you
John, I got
know,
to tell you something that came up for me. Oh, are you okay that we change
yeah,
subjects? Okay. So
go.
yesterday, my girlfriend, I went out for dinner with some girlfriends. My girlfriend said, "How was your week? What did you accomplish this week?" And I started to like reflect on the week, and I gave her a couple items that had been done, and I missed like big items like that we launched our podcast this week,
Mm.
that we launched our mastermind, 2 weeks ago, that we're building out some amazing programs for 2023 that people can join. I missed it all. And I was like, "Oh, I did this and this." And I was really humble about it and kind of holding back. And I thought, "Oh my goodness, this is a life lesson right here," because we just created, and we'll share the link for everyone, a reflection worksheet for 2022, because we know that when we reflect on all the accomplishments that happened in the year, it sets us up for the stage that we're going to create for 2023. So we do that process, and we do it. I know you do it on a monthly basis, John, but
Mm.
it reaffirmed for me that if I can't even remember my accomplishments in a week, I have to go to this like this more
Yeah.
often reflection. But we're going to start with the entire year of a reflection. And we have a downloadable for people if they want to have the worksheet and answer those questions. But then I think, John, what we're going to do is we're going to also share out the monthly process. And we can start
Yeah.
that in January and just month by month go on that reflection. But it was such a life lesson for me that I couldn't even remember my accomplishments for the week, let alone for the whole year. So, that is why it's so important that you do the journaling, you do the reflection on what have you accomplished, because that's how you measure your success. And so the planks, I'm writing it down every single day. I'll
Yeah.
know how much I've improved. So, John, that's a lesson that I learned from you this week, and I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, no, that's amazing. I love it. I love it. It's so true. We do forget. And the other part is we're just, I don't know if it's a Canadian thing, or I don't know if it's an upbringing of mine, but being humble, right? Like being humble to the point where we don't allow ourselves to be who we need to be, right? Like, don't get me wrong. There is a line when you cross between being humble and being, I want to say, cocky. You got to be careful, right? It's not about. It's really around sharing your um, sharing. Actually, the word I want to use is celebrating.
Mm.
Celebrating the successes that you've had and doing it in a way that's authentic and genuine in you, right? But we don't talk about these things because it's like, well, what are people going to say? How are you going to make people feel? People that aren't like motivated and like, who cares? I don't care. If you're in a space where you don't want to take action with your life, that's on you, and that's okay. I have no judgments towards that. I'm not going to make any. I know this sounds a little bit controversial. I don't have
It's
any
okay,
judge.
John. None of those people are listening to us today,
Okay,
so
good,
it's
good,
okay.
good. Yeah, they don't listen anyway, so that's perfect. But I don't have judgments to people who don't want to move, and do things and grow, and like that's okay. Wherever you're at is where you're at, right? But why should I hold myself back from celebrating the things that I've been able to do over this past year, over this past week, over this past day, even this morning? I got up, I'm part of a morning group where I listen in on a call every morning at 6 a.m. Between 6 and 7, that's my thing. But the one thing that showed up for me was, today I need to do something. And I'm like, am I going to listen to this call? And I got halfway into the call and I gave myself permission to get off that call, because one of the things I am fully committed to is to be part of this call every morning. And I made a decision today, because there's a recording, I'm going to go back to the call later and do what I need to do this morning so I could get ready for this morning. So,
Mm.
here we are. It's not even 9 o'clock, and I feel like I've had a half a workday already done, right?
Mm.
But I made the commitment and I chose what was more important, what I wanted to prioritize for myself today.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't give ourselves what I find, historically, I'm like, what, I got to do this. I got to do this. I can't stay away or stray away from this. I just got to do this. And it's like, no, it's okay. You got permission to do what you need to do. If you got those feelings of, I need to go get this done, then go get it done. Like, don't put it
Mm-hmm.
off, right? It's like, we talked about this earlier, just making that decision to go do what you need to do. And if the decision is to do a plank every morning before you start your day, then that's what we're going to do, right?
Get it done.
I love it.
John, going back to the celebration piece, and sometimes we're humble, or we feel like we don't want to celebrate too much because we don't want people to feel bad around us. And in fact,
Mhm.
I had someone share with me that they got feedback on their LinkedIn post that someone said, "Hey, you're celebrating too much. You're making me feel bad." And I thought, wow, like what did you respond with that comment? Because that comment, and what comes up for me when I heard that is, wow, that person's internal dialogue about their insecurities is so loud that it came out as a real
Mhm.
verbalization at someone else. Because those kinds of comments are not about the person that they're given to, it's about the person that's saying it. And you got to have empathy and compassion for what's going on in their head when that happens. And we have all kinds of things that happen on the internet because people give those comments, and you just got to be like, yes, for one person that I might have made feel bad, how many people did I influence to do take an action and do something different and celebrate their successes. So please, please, please continue to celebrate your successes. You are strong, you are capable, and you're influencing and impacting someone else that looks up to you and sees you as someone that looks like them. I always think of, when I'm trying to influence one person, it's myself a lot of times, but I think of the younger version of me. And like, if I would have had someone like me telling me at age 20 or 15 or 30 the messages that I would have liked to hear, oh my God, imagine who I would be when I'm at this age. So I send those messages back to my previous self, and then anyone that looks and feels like me at those ages. So please celebrate is the message. Please celebrate. Oh my God, how did we get to 9 o'clock already? This is crazy.
I know, like, this is crazy.
Okay, so plank is the challenge. Planks
is the challenge. So so I'm going to invite you. So we're going to be back on Monday, and I'm going to invite you to just let us know, how did you do? So Felicia, I know you said yes, so I know you listen in. So I'm going to ask you, how did it go this weekend? You don't have to give me times or anything. It's not about that. Like I said, it's not about judgments in and around that. But I would love to know how you did with the plank.
And every day, it's
every day,
because it's the weekend doesn't mean you're off. No, every day.
There's no breaks on the weekend. Life doesn't stop on the weekends.
No.
Okay, so that is it for this episode.
Downloadable.
We're going to include the downloadable reflection worksheet in the comments. I'm going to go in and pop those in a minute. And that's going to be available for everybody to download today. So you quick little registration, and then it's an immediate download. So, and I got a thumbs up. So excellent. So everybody, thank you for listening in on Friday. This is exciting. Like Heather said, we also launched our podcast. So we are on all the major platforms, Spotify, Google, and Apple, and 100 other platforms out there. So you can take us in your pocket. So if you need a daily dose of little inspiration, a little motivation, something to just pick you up, we are there for you. And it's called the Say Yes Movement podcast. And we're so excited to bring that to the world. So if you feel like, and here's a request for those that are listening, if you feel like there's somebody in your life that could use it, just share the link with them. I would love if you could do that. All right, Heather, I think that's it. We are like way over time today. So with that, I'm going to wish everybody a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you on Monday.